wonderful. Right, let's go to Arsenal's defeat to West Ham. Myles Lewis-Skelly shown a yellow card by Craig Pawson, bringing down Mohamed Kudus. VAR recommended an on-field review. That was upgraded to a red. Right, so it's a long way out, but the position of the keeper here is that key. 100%.
I think this is a really, really good VAR intervention. I understand why the referee thinks, well, he's in his own half. There's not that. Whether you look forward and see the keeper's come so far out. Also, the defender is a red herring. You know, people say, oh, the defender's level with him. Well, he's level with him, but he's so far away. He's not going to catch him because Kudus just has to go on 2 steps, clip the ball over Raya's head, and he's got a goal-scoring opportunity, which is what he stopped.
You're happy it was a foul, because when he went down to the pitch, he actually played the ball, but it was what was in the build-up to him going down on the ground.
As well as that, he's made sure he stopped him. He's just trying to stop a promising attack, isn't he? But unfortunately, because of Raya's position and the defender, it becomes a obvious goal-scoring opportunity.
Good VAR intervention then.
Yes, really good. Really good.
Yeah, I think that's where we need to praise VAR, don't we? And I think the positioning of David Raya, I think that's the key thing, isn't it? The fact that he is so far out, the position of the defender means that he wouldn't recover and Kudus would have had a shot on goal. So, yeah, absolutely good VAR.
Now, Mikel Arteta was very angry about Arsenal's display in their 1-0 loss to West Ham, said they deserve to feel the pain, the first home defeat of the season in the Premier League. Sue, do you sense that pressure is, what is it? Is it getting to them, and is this the title race done now?
I just think he was so frustrated after the performance. It was very flat, and they'd obviously been on a good unbeaten run. I think it was 15 games, wasn't it? And he knows that he had to be perfect to try and bridge that gap between Liverpool. And the fact that they'd lost that game, it was a flat performance. And yes, the reasons for it, we know, are the attacking players that are missing, bound to have an impact. You've got a young 17-year-old in Nwaneri that we've praised and said has got so much potential, but probably wasn't at his best. But that's going to happen with young players. You've got Sterling, who's not played a lot of football for Arsenal. So you've got players that are trying to give that impact and trying. Marino playing up top. I think that's the other one, wasn't it? A midfielder playing in that number 9 position. He's trying to find solutions because of the injuries in that forward line. So I think it was just more of a frustration from Mikel Arteta, because he just knew that wasn't the levels, and the fact that they lost that game. If Liverpool went to Manchester City, it just opens up an even bigger gap because they went and won.
Well, let's pick up on that then. Mikel Merino. Game before, this is inspired. Play him up front. There we go. Off we go. It didn't work though. OK, here's a clip of Stephen Warnock from this time last year. Is a lack of number 9 is what's causing this problem?
Well, if you go to the game yesterday, Liverpool go and win at Manchester City without a number 9.
Yeah.
So you've got Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones playing high up the pitch. You've got Luis Diaz, who isn't a number 9. Salah, who's a wide player. No number 9s in the team, and they find a way to win. So it can be done. Is he the right type of player for that system? Is Havertz a number 9? No, he's probably not. He's probably that midfield type hybrid player that Szoboszlai is as well. So it is achievable. But is he of the calibre of those two players, of a Szoboszlai? Probably not. He's probably more suited to that deeper lying role. So let's not get away from the fact, though, that they have been hurt in attack. They've lost the best players in obviously Saka, in Havertz and Martinelli. So they've definitely been hampered in that way. But if you're going to win a title, you've got to find other ways to win it, and they're falling short at the moment. So I understand how frustrated Arsenal fans are, and they'll have been looking at that team at the weekend thinking, probably need more players through the door. They probably do. They probably do need someone who is a more recognised striker. I think you can get away with the playing the midfielders in that number 9 position for a couple of games, maybe 5 or 6 games a season, but not over the course of a full season.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about Myles Lewis-Skelly's red card on Ref Watch, but what the underlying trend here is worrying for us. There's now 20 red cards under Arteta, more than anyone else in that time. So are they misjudged, or do they have a disciplinary problem here?
again, I think it's something that Mikel Arteta will be, and his coaching staff will be looking at and saying, well, how can we stop this from happening? It's always going to be difficult if you're, playing in a game with 10 men. But I think you've got to look at each individual red card, because some of the red cards are just unfortunate. Even the Myles Lewis-Skelly one, he's obviously trying to recover the ball, and it is a red card because it's denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. But there's been other red cards as well. So I don't know about the disciplinary problem, but I certainly think it's something that they do need to address.
The only thing I'd say about the Lewis-Skelly one at the weekend is, if we watched him against, I think I'm right in saying against Manchester City, and there was a very similar incident where we clipped him up, and he was in the same position, and what he wanted to do was take the ball with the outside of his left foot and drive into midfield. Now, there's a simple pass to your goalkeeper. Just keep the ball simple. But he's thinking in his head, I'm going to start this attack so I can slip away from Kudus and get away and then drive into midfield. So it's a mistake within him making the decision-making, if you know what I mean. So the correct decision is, just play back to my goalkeeper, reset, go again. But because of the mindset of playing on the edge a little bit and breaking those lines and being progressive, it almost backfires on you a little bit. Now, is that a decision-making of a young, inexperienced player, or is that what you're being coached on the training field? So you're playing on the edge of sort of taking a player out of that press.
Yeah.
And that's what we don't know.
Yeah. You'd probably say experience, wouldn't you? I think because we've praised him coming into the side and playing really well.
Yeah.
But I think that is something maybe where a more experienced player looks and does the simple option, whereas he's probably thinking, like you said, can I actually turn? Can I start the attack off? So that's something that he will learn. But I just think you'd have to look at each individual red card and say, well, why did that happen, and how can we prevent that from happening in the future?
Yeah, I mean, and to balance it up, this is the first time Arsenal have had, under Arsene Wenger for a while, they had a bad disciplinary record with red cards. What is the target now for Arsenal this season?
Finish higher up at the league as they can. Make sure that they don't slip towards now until the end of the season. To be as close to Liverpool as they can be, and hope that something miraculous happens and Liverpool slip up and that they can take advantage of it. They've got to keep believing as long as they can. The issue that they've got is that you're asking Liverpool to effectively lose 4 games within the until the end of the season. This is a team that's only lost 5 games in 2 years, or 18 months in an 18-month period. So you look at that and you think that's very difficult to overturn. That's going to be very, very tough for them. So they've just got to keep progressing up that league as much as they can, get to the transfer window and look to re-strengthen again.
To the victor of the spoils, we should pay tribute to West Ham and what they did, but what has Graham Potter changed? Is this sustainable long term? Are they on their way up? Are they a club on the rise?
Well, I think you've got to look at this game individually and say, well, it was a real disciplined defensive display. I thought they were very well organised off the ball. They all worked really hard for each other. And then you know that they've got as well that pace and quality in attack. I thought Kudus was excellent. I think Bowen is so underrated. I think he's a brilliant player, and he's got that quality in the final third, whether that's an assist or whether that's a goal. But I just think it was how they set up against Arsenal. They just made it really difficult for them in a defensive perspective, but then knowing that they've got that, like say, quality in attack to hurt Arsenal.
My only question about this will be, is what is the difference between that performance there and how David Moyes would set them up?
And the answer is? There's
no difference. So why get rid of David Moyes in the first place? Everyone's going, oh, what a result away from home against Arsenal. It suited West Ham to sit back, to be defensive, to sit in a shape. We've seen that from David Moyes at West Ham before. So when you talk about progressing West Ham, I want to see West Ham go to Arsenal and dominate the football then. If you want change and you want to progress and go better, and don't get me wrong, I know it takes time, but they didn't do anything different. They sat in a shape, they were organised, they counter-attacked, which is what they've got the players to do. But there wasn't an element of we dominated the ball and we played this open, expansive football, exactly what West Ham fans wanted.
And I think that's what we've got to see, haven't we? That's the progression and the development of West Ham. So you go into Arsenal, you know that's going to be a really tough game. You've got to do that. You've got to have that defensive, disciplined display, if you like, but then you're then going to want to see West Ham, because of the quality players that they've got in attack, you want to then see them developing, and that's obviously what Graham Potter will be looking to do.
It will take time.
Yeah.
I think we don't judge him this year, we judge next year and see where they're at, because he's still trying to get his ideas across. He's still got a lot of injuries within the squad. It was great to see James Ward-Prowse play so well as well, organising the team and things like that. But he needs a little bit more time to see whether we actually do see that progression and we see West Ham playing what West Ham fans want and their style.
The late December air at the Emirates was thick with frustration. Arsenal, unbeaten in 15 league matches, were trailing West Ham United by a single goal. The opportunity to close the gap on league leaders Liverpool was slipping away. Then, in the 73rd minute, a youthful indiscretion changed the match's complexion entirely. Myles Lewis-Skelly, a promising Arsenal teenager, found himself dispossessed near the halfway line by West Ham's Mohamed Kudus. In a desperate attempt to recover the ball, Lewis-Skelly brought Kudus down. Initially, referee Craig Pawson brandished a yellow card, but after a VAR review, the punishment was upgraded to a red, leaving Arsenal with 10 men and a mountain to climb. This incident, while seemingly isolated, offers a valuable case study for Arsenal, particularly concerning the development and integration of young players into the first team. The Lewis-Skelly red card wasn't simply a case of a bad tackle, it was a confluence of factors highlighting the importance of defensive discipline, tactical awareness, and the increasing influence of VAR in modern football. The Lewis-Skelly incident also underscores the increasing importance of VAR in shaping the outcome of matches. While the initial yellow card might have been considered a reasonable on-field decision, the VAR review highlighted the severity of the foul. The fact that Lewis-Skelly was the last defender, with goalkeeper David Raya far from his goal, meant that Kudus had a clear goal-scoring opportunity. This, according to the laws of the game, warranted a red card. This reality demands a shift in mindset for young players. Gone are the days when borderline tackles might escape punishment. With VAR's meticulous scrutiny, every action is subject to review, and even seemingly innocuous fouls can have significant consequences. To understand the significance of Lewis-Skelly's dismissal, it's crucial to dissect the events leading up to it. The young midfielder, introduced as a substitute in the 56th minute, was caught in possession. According to match reports, Lewis-Skelly lost possession to Mohamed Kudus and immediately chopped him down. Several factors could have contributed to this error. Inexperience. At 18 years old, Lewis-Skelly is still learning the nuances of the game at the highest level. The speed of thought and execution required in the Premier League can be unforgiving, especially against experienced opponents like Kudus. Tactical misjudgment. The decision to commit the foul, while perhaps born out of desperation, ultimately proved detrimental. A more experienced player might have recognized the tactical implications of conceding a free kick versus the risk of a potential red card. High-pressure situation. With Arsenal trailing and time running out, the pressure to win back possession would have been immense. This pressure, coupled with inexperience, could have clouded Lewis-Skelly's judgment. Lack of options. According to reports, when Bowen started the counter-attack that resulted in a goal, all 10 Arsenal outfielders were within 30 yards of the opposition goal.